What's up, party people? Party people. Well, we survived another hurricane. We got lucky. This was like the most chill hurricane I've ever been through personally. I know it was pretty bad for some people. Apparently, like it flooded in like Norco and like New Orleans and some other places, and it looked like it was actually pretty bad over there. I'm like, damn, did we experience like the same storm? Um, because we got a good run of it, honestly. Like as far as the radar, it looked like we were gonna get hit pretty decent in Ponchatoula, but we just man, I've been through worse just thunderstorms, honestly, way worse. So luckily, we made it through safely. Didn't even lose power, so that's good. Can't complain there. So I am still sick. I actually was supposed to go to work today. I got stuck. I couldn't go to work because my car was stuck. I parked in the grass so that I was away from all the trees because I didn't have a garage space. Um, so yeah, I actually like I really could have. I would have probably got like covered in mud and stuff, and I was gonna go because I called in yesterday, which is when they thought the storm was gonna hit, but it all changed and I was like sick. I don't know. I think I have like the flu or something like the flu. It's pretty bad. It like shut me down. Really didn't feel like doing anything. I had to take a bunch of daytime medicine, which has been keeping me going. But it's like it works good, and then you crash, and it's just like really probably should have stayed home anyway, being this sick. So it kind of worked out for me. My car got stuck. I used a sick day, which is crazy because I just got all my sick days like the other day. Like right before the storm hit, I got my week's worth of sick days, which is amazing. So, anyway, enough of that chit chat. Let's try to get something done. I'm gonna do at least an hour here, so let's see if we can bring my Opal out here and get some work done. Alright, so let's see where we left off. Day before yesterday, we figured out a better solution for game ID setup and overall server-side code execution extensiveness logic. Something's wrong with that phraseology, but it's not a big deal. Implemented most of the proposed changes, reviewed logic, and everything seems sound. Is a massive performance and bug reduction fix by reducing amount of code executed server-side and reducing overall lines of code, and improving logic and readability. Created checkpoint commit pushed to repo titled, or I don't know what you would call that, like the name of the commit before commit or before game ID int etc. And then we stage committed, pushed our changes to remote repo, created a new local backup. And as I was reading this, I'm kind of like remembering where I left off, and I actually wrote in things to do, thankfully, exactly what I'm supposed to do next. So we have game ID int logic improvement, where we remove game ID int entirely. We replace with locate.gameObject assignment from setup. Replace with locate.gameObject assignment from setup. Okay, we started to do that. We actually implemented that into setup, and let me go review that. So we have at the beginning of the setup function, I'm like stopped up, you can hear. I don't want to take any more medicine. I'm kind of taking a lot. If change attribute list.ss or cs is equal to cs for client side, we then check if client ID int is equal to 1, which we pass to the setup function call as an argument. It's default to none. So if client ID int is equal to 1, then locate.gameObject equals p1game, and then else if client ID int is equal to 2, locate.gameObject equals p2game. So when it's server side, the client ID int will be equal to none because we don't pass an arg to it, so we just let it default to none, which I guess is kind of ghetto, right? Like technically shouldn't we pass the arg explicitly, because explicit is better than implicit. So I think what I'll do is verify that first of all we're passing the client ID int arg everywhere where setup is called, and it looks like we do pass that argument from the client side. And we verified that before this setup call is made, that SS or CS is set prior, so I don't really have to double check that, but I know it's up here somewhere. There it is, right here. Okay, so let's keep going. So, okay. Alright, so setup from server side calls it with no argument. And that's the only two places setup is called from, because that's 3 endpoints actually. It's two instances of client and 1 server side. So it's really 2 locations. One of the locations the client is executed twice. So you get 3. Now, what we need to do is to be more Pythonic, whatever they say, is we can pass in client ID int, and we'll just say none. This sets everything up for the game. Client ID int arg is left empty. We'll say set to none. Therefore, we'll just say is properly set to none. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and go to the next step here, which is I'm not sure actually. Let's see, what do we need to do next? Let's go to things to do and find out. So we created game object adder and associated assignment logic in setup. Next, we need to remove all vestiges of game ID int. Right, okay, so we replaced game ID int, which is cool because that was a hot potato argument that was just extra, and now we don't have to worry about it. There we go, that's better. And I think I actually am gonna take some more medicine because I'm kind of feeling like shitty. You're supposed to take 2 at a time. I take 1 just because this stuff is kind of like speed, and it will make me like crash and get like kind of angry, angsty feeling. So hopefully that'll kick in like 20-30 minutes to make me start feeling better. Wipe this can't drink water. I got a hole in my mouth, apparently. Okay. So we need to remove all vestiges of, what's it called? Game ID int. So I think what we'll do here is we will search for it locally. And this is, make sure this is the same ID int. So this is passed to dir check. And let's read what the notes say. So game ID int, current game.id used for calling draw window main. Thus, it is always current, not other, even when dealing with other client data. Okay. But I'm like, is that? I think that is the same, like, object. Let me. I hate when my formatting is different with one over another. See timestamp float. Game ID int. Current game ID used for calling draw window main. Yeah, so draw window main takes game ID int, and yeah, so this is the same thing, right? I believe so. We might not be able to remove this one though, because the other one that we were addressing specifically was, well, it was the one for draw window main, right? We had a paint thing that showed it. We wrote it in things to do, actually. Chain of events. So we have chain of events, append function card movement, then draw window main. So we verified we needed append. We said to review all functions in func dictionary. Determine how far back along the chain of events server side needs to go before checking if SS or CS is equal to SS. So I'm trying to remember exactly how this ties in to the game ID in thing more specifically. Gross, I was drinking coffee. I have like a little bit of cinnamon on the side of my mouth. Gross. Anyway, game ID int. I felt like we said we needed to solve the other problem first before we dealt with the game ID int, because that one was going to influence the game ID int. But I'm not sure if that's actually the case. So game ID int is passed to card movement. It's passed to append, then funcdict, then function, then card movement, ultimately to get to draw window main. And the reason that it's needed, it's not needed in draw window main. It's needed to call draw window main. Is that right? like we would say p1 game dot draw window main or p2 game dot draw window main. We don't pass it in as an argument. I think. I don't think we do. Let me go ahead and look at this. So yeah, draw window main doesn't take it as an argument, doesn't take an argument at all. And I'm just gonna go through here. I don't know if this is how you do this. I always forget how to do this. To locally search. So we're gonna search for game ID int. There's none. Yeah, so we don't actually pass game ID int to draw window main. The game ID int determines which object we reference to call the draw window main method of that game object. Yeah, that's how it works. So let's see. Change attribute list. Need to change this back to game ID int. And the real question I had was for this game ID int in dir check. I felt a little flustered here. Game ID int equals none. Okay, let's just see. Let's just look at the actual code here. Alright. Okay, so that clarifies everything. We pass it to append. I don't know why I was confused. Okay. Yeah, so so this is just where we pass the game ID int to the actual dir check call. The ID int arg is used in dir check to be passed to append, which gets passed to the associated function, the location function, which gets passed to card movement, which gets passed to draw, not passed to draw window main, but is used to call draw window main. Okay, so now I remember exactly what's going on with this, and this is the same game ID int. And I was confused. I was like, wait, don't we call dir check a lot? But we used to call dir check a lot. We don't call dir check. There's only like 2 places that use dir check. I was like, oh no, this means we have to change a lot of other code, but I don't think that's actually true. So let's go ahead and just remove it. I think we can go ahead and we're going to get rid of it in the comment first. So we have game ID int equals current game ID used for calling draw window main. Thus it is always current, not other, even when dealing with other client data. And this is just going to be nixed completely. Okay, now we're going to go to the parameters where we define the parameters, and we're going to remove from there as well. Alright, let's just keep going. And now we're going to remove it from the actual functions to which it was passed. Just gotta be careful here, make sure I'm doing this right. Let me just verify, like, we're not making a boo-boo. It's ultimately only needed in draw window main, or in card movement. I quit saying that. It's needed in card movement, which is a location file method, or location class instance method, and we assign the game object location object attribute during the setup function, which bypasses this hot potato game of passing this argument over and over, and it allows us to directly set it one and done. Much improved version. So now, yeah, we can get rid of this safely. I'm quite certain of that. So let's get rid of this. Game ID end equals game ID end. See ya later. And I hate when I do that. Let's try that again. I always like to look at the comment of the line that I'm modifying first to make sure the comment doesn't need to be changed as well. Because lots of times when you're modifying a line of code, you're also needing to modify its comment. Just gotta be careful here, pay attention to what I'm doing. Okay, disable this code once the game is stable. I'm pretty sure game IDN is only needed for card movement, which means it wouldn't be necessary here. Okay, gotcha. Well, I'm not sure game ID in this area. It seems that when we append an empty list, card movement would not be called. Leaving here until I'm 100% sure it's unnecessary. Well, it's unnecessary now, so that's a good thing. Now, I think when we said right here, disable this code once the game is stable, I don't know why we would say that. We're appending... I gotta use the restroom, actually, so I'll be back. Continue. checks and receive data at 1. Oh yeah, that's right. I knew I wanted to review that. So yeah, we don't want to, I don't think we want to disable this code. We're appending, this is for dir check receive. This means we're applying data that was sent to us, and we're being told what operation we're performing, and it's telling us to create a new list, and then we're appending that empty list to the associated card group. Okay, and then for each card and receive data at 1, we're grabbing that actual card from the card group dictionary, and we're then appending that card to the new list, which is indeed correct. So, yeah. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have to get that one out of here. I like some of those Vitamin String Quartet songs, and some of them I don't like at all. Some of them are just like kind of cringy. Some of them are really good. Alright, so let's see. Make sure I'm going in order. I don't want to skip an instance of this game ID int in one of the comments. Alright, so here it's the same section, and we simply don't need a game ID int anymore because it's now obsolete. Alright, let's look at this comment. If opstring is equal to A, okay. Note, reviewed this again, and I'm pretty sure this code is 100% safe and not errant in any form, leaving until I can test a bit further before removing caution comment. Reviewed this again. I'm pretty sure this code is 100%. I gotta read this stuff 2 times. That's just how it is. I'm in outer space the first time I read it. Lots of times. Reviewed this again, and I'm pretty sure this code is 100% safe and not errant in any form, leaving until I can test a bit further before removing caution comment. Note, found 2 bugs, the same bug twice, once in append, the other in pop, wherein we were circularly appending to the change attribute list because the code snippet for that append was not correctly placed in the if change from dir check is equal to false clause. Maybe this was the cause of the bug I'm talking about in the next node. Is this the cause for the discard clickable card list being unclickable? While debugging game ID int is equal to none bug, notice this call does not have game ID int arg, attempted to add it, which caused the draw an unclickable card list to be rendered unclickable. Okay, so yeah, that might have been the bug, whatever I was talking about, because you can now click the cards in the clickable card list during the draw animation section. I couldn't click any cards at all for either client. Is this a bug, or should this happen? Damn, it's a long comment. Out of this else clause, which doesn't include the game arg because it doesn't need to, because those lists are not associated with visual card movement. Okay, so we're gonna actually remove this entire comment up until the original form of it. I'm gonna remove the quotation from it. Did I use that word correctly? I don't know. If opstring is equal to A, below line, add this else clause, which doesn't. So where is the else clause I'm talking about? Which doesn't include the game arg? Am I talking about elif? Doesn't include the game arg because it doesn't systems thus are not associated with visual card movement. These card groups are not associated with card movement, therefore game ID arg should not be used to pass here. Okay, I'll just leave it at this. These card groups are not associated with card movement. How about that? Which is basically what that comment said. So I'm just get rid of it. Okay. We have custom logger, ender check game ID, int receive data equals receive data. Well, we don't have access to game ID int anymore. I'm trying to think what we could use here to reference the client number, but it actually doesn't even need to be. Well, what is this? Dir check receive. So yeah, technically we would server side call this and need to know which client this was called from. So that's not a huge deal though. Like, we could probably get by with that because this is really just a test log anyway. It's not like necessary for the functionality of the game. Okay, continuing. Okay, so this is our other dir check call. This is in client, and these game ID int equals current game.game.id, which we're gonna nix because we're no longer using that. Now, technically, I could pass in the current client ID or something like that to be used for that caution comment, but I really don't want to create an argument just for the purpose of using one time in a caution comment. I mean, for a test line. You know what I mean? I would rather not do that, so we're just gonna get rid of it and not replace it. And why do we need the cur game? Let's mark our spot. So we were at 6:30 searching for game ID int. Oops, what the hell did I do? 6:30 game ID int. Alright. And we're gonna search for cur game real quick to see what's up with that. And so the cur game here is the current game object, which must be passed as an arg due to the fact that this function is assigned in client pi, but also called in server. So it doesn't know what current game is without it explicitly referencing the global current game variable. Okay. I don't like how that's worded. It says, but it's also called in server so that it doesn't know what current game is without it explicitly referencing the global current game variable. So it doesn't know what current game is without it explicitly being passed without it being explicitly passed as an arg. I think that's better. And now let's see, is it necessary? Okay, it is, because we use it to actually call draw window main. And I put a note here. Try disabling this to see if it changes anything visually. Note, unsure of whether this should be placed here or after the dir check receive. For game, more broadly, at line 562, this was added here to ensure that the screen is redrawn every time an X or Y value for a card is changed during the early draw animation stages of the game, because we were having visual bugs related to this not happening before player card movement data was happening due to those instances calling card movement, which in turn calls draw window main. Now I don't really follow exactly what I was saying right here. What exactly did I mean here? So I get the first part of we use it to assign the XY, or to ensure rather that the XY values are drawn but okay, so this is when we're receiving card group data, and this would only happen during the draw animation section, which is where we modify the XY directly, and this, it has been transferred and now it's being received. So I think we would need to call draw window main. Now I don't want to double call it. For instance, if it was derivatively called by the X or Y setter, then calling it immediately after right here would be derivative. I don't think it is derivative though. I think this line is necessary. Yeah, I think this line is necessary because, if I'm not mistaken, the X setter, and let's find that. So here's a sidetrack. We've gotten sidetracked here. And we'll say 150 cur game and client pi. And now we are going to sidetrack again and look for the setter for X to see if we are derivatively calling draw window main. And I don't think we are. Let's check. So when we call the setter, we have the internal value, the rect center, and data transfer function called, but that's only going to happen if this is true, and in this case it wouldn't be. So all that would happen is these two lines right here, which changing the rect.center does not derivatively call any function like draw window main. So I'm thinking about this here. Um, so normally draw window main is called during card movement. Card movement is past the destination location, and draw window main is called every time the X or Y has been changed by 1. It calls draw window main to redraw the screen. And the reason that this wouldn't happen through the card movement function is because we're not calling card movement, because card movement is triggered through an append. There's no reason to use the card movement function because, well, it's just extra for this instance. This instance, card movement does like more things than what this does. This does it only moves it's just setting the X and the Y to this receive data. But I'm actually I'm not sure about this because if card group data is populated, I'm just saying, like, should we directly move the card there via an XY explicit setting? Or should we be calling card movement? Oh, I know why. Okay, it's because we don't use card movement because card movement is the function which contains the logic for how to move a card 1 unit at a time gradually, like this. But in this instance, wherein we use card group data, we are not gradually moving the card. This is actually only used to transmit the cards to this is used to transmit the cards instantly. But I was just thinking about, okay, well, what if we used the gradual option during the card movement or the draw animation call? If we used the gradual option, then that would simply modify the XY one at a time. Um, and since data transfer would be enabled, then each time the XY was gradually changed one by one, instead of just one time from here to here, it would be gradual, 1 1 1 1 1 1. That would trigger that data to be transferred over the network, and this is where that data is received through DirCheck on the client side. So even in that case, the even in that case, this would be logical to use as opposed to using card movement. And I don't think I ever really thought that through. I really needed to talk myself through that, because sidetrack. But this is how it works. This is how you understand your code on a deeper level, which is more important. So I have to do this. And I just want to put a little note right here, because it's like holding on to thin strands and remembering not to let them go while you look away from them. It's like having 8 arms and remembering what each of them are holding. And we're going to put versus card movement, because I'm like, why do I not use card movement? Why do I just set them the XY? And I am quite certain, let me just verify this, that the card movement function is specifically for moving the cards gradually. Yeah, see how this code, this is in card movement function. So card movement receives a location, and then it's supposed to yeah, this is all about gradual card movement. This is meant to move this card over a certain distance intelligently and smoothly. Yeah, all this math and stuff, this is only for gradual card movement. Yes, so this is the defining difference between XY and card movement. So I'm gonna put a note here that says because, and just to verify, card movement does change the X and the Y. Yes, yep. So it does the same thing, but it does it like 100 times instead of once instantly. It's like Goku flying to a point versus using instant transmission to just appear at a point. So we're going to put a note here that says this is why. And this right here, which says try disabling this to see if it changes anything visually. Unsure whether this should be placed here or after the DirCheck for a game more broad. Well, I'm pretty certain this should be enabled, because it's just the right spot for it. We wouldn't want to put it somewhere else. There's a correct location for things, which is, you know, you put pairs together. You don't put pairs a room apart from each other. It's just weird. Why would you not put them together? So This cur game draw window main call is necessary, so I'll put that first. Do not change or do not remove. This is we'll put verified proper location and proper logic. This is used to instantly to visually move the card instantly, as opposed to card movement, which is intended for gradual long movement. Beautiful. Now let's get this comment here. So we don't want to disable that. We are now sure whether this should be placed here after the dir check. Receive for game more broadly. This was added here to ensure that the screen is redrawn every time an X or Y value for a card is changed during the early draw animation stages. Yeah, and that part can remain because that is indeed why we added it. I'll just put comment updated 9/12/24. And what's the time? Okay, we're at 52 minutes, so we have 8 more minutes till my little break. And fucking back is hurting, like pretty bad. Got Ren and Stimpy stickers. Ren and Stimpy, I got Cow, Rocket Power, Reptar, Eliza Thornberry, Our Real Monsters, Daggett and Norbert from Angry Beavers, Johnny Bravo, Vegeta, and of course, what's Goofy's son's name? I can't remember. From a Goofy movie? Max, and yeah, I got a Van Gogh Goku sticker too. Good stuff. Okay, so this was added here to ensure that the screen is redrawn every time an XY value for a card is changed during the early draw animation stages of the game, because we're having visual bugs related to this happening for player card movement data was happening due to those instances calling card movement. Why is that so confusing? Because we were having visual bugs related to this not happening before player card movement data was happening due to those instances. Yeah, that's confusing. Let's just leave it at this was added here to ensure that the screen is redrawn every time an extra value change during the draw animation stages of the game. Yeah, all that extra we don't need it. Cool. Good deal. Continued. So back to what we were doing, which is cur game 150 client pi. That's what we're working on right here. Let's see. So is this actually necessary? And the answer is yes, because we need it to call this draw window main for card group data. So let's add that to the comment section associated with cur game. So the current game object, which must be passed as an arg due to the fact we can shorten this. Current game arg, which must be passed as an arg, so it must be passed due to this function being assigned in client by, but also called in server by, so it doesn't know what current game is without it. That's not exactly true. The current game object, which must be passed, and then we'll modify from here. I'll put due to card group, well, at least, we don't know if that's the only place, to card group data, card group data's direct modification of the cards' x, y adders to immediately display the updated card locations via an associated draw window main call. Yeah, that's good. That is accurate. So we have cur game, draw window main. Let's keep going. Leave as is. Game object is used here instead of cur game because it is sometimes needed to reference other game. Game object is used here instead of cur game because it is sometimes needed to reference other game. Game object is used here instead of cur game because it is sometimes needed to reference other game. Oh, well, this was for this obsolete line, which we don't use anymore, and we can just get rid of this. See ya. Okay, so now we have elif adder name string is equal to skeleton clickable card list. Game dot time clickable card list. Okay, and we use the associated timestamp to check against the receive timestamp float. This is true. Yeah, so we also need cur game for that reason, so it is necessary. We also need for skeleton clickable card list and skeleton click card list. And I'll just copy that. Let's see. Copy this. Go back up here. And let's add that to this comment. The current game object which tries to due to card group data, due to the, we'll say due to 1, card group data's direct modification of the cards. This is sections, direct modification of the cards, XY adders to immediately display the data combination, and then we'll put 2. Skeleton and skeleton clickable card list, skeleton clicked cards list section for what is it? Timestamp access. Isn't it timestamp? We'll just say timestamp value. It's got the included part of the section for accessing proper timestamp value or timestamp adder. Okay, so then we pass it here. So yeah, this is all good. We're almost done. Praise the Lord. Ah, okay, we're done with that. Cool. Done. That was a little excursion. That was more of an excursion than I wanted. So now let's go back to game ID int and let's go ahead and finish this. So we're right here and we're removing removing game ID int code. Cool. Alright. So for above line arg reference, dir check params and game ID int is no longer one of them. For tube in current client change attribute list copy. Dir check params, I guess is the same thing. Delete it. Goodbye. Now we have append, which is no longer going to. Let's see what this comment says. Customized version. Whoa. That was a short and sweet comment. So game ID int is equal to none. We're no longer going to use that for append. Pretty certain. Yes. Good job. Alright, let's look at this one. If custom append list in string type item lower. This is to the locate funcdict call. We can get rid of this shit. See you later, homeboy. We don't need it any longer. Go to the next one. Alright. Same thing. Don't need that anymore. Boom. Okay. Same thing here. Oh, no, this is easy. I like this. This is very easy. Man, I hope I get all this right, because this is actually a lot of affected code, like a lot. Super consequential. See all this? This was a big change. This was a big improvement, honestly. It's not so much a necessary improvement as it is a quality of life improvement. It removes so much bloat from the code base, which bloat is just an excuse for a bug, a stupid one. Let me just go back real quick, make sure. No, I can't. That was a different file. Is it here? Okay, yeah. We did. Okay, so that's a valid change. Locations. Game. Locations. What did we do here? What we did here. Okay, so this is the first of many. Let's read this comment. The draw to is used at line 551 for the 1x1 option for the draw to section progression.py. Do not remove. Okay. True. It dynamically moves a single passed in card from its current location to the desired location, one unit at a time, using a formula to move the card in a straight line, which visually calls P2 at the end of the function, which visually updates the card's on-screen location. Also takes the draw to parameter for whenever the cards need to be placed face down during the draw card selection segment. Isn't that the draw animation section? The cards need to be placed face down. I don't know about that though, because the cards are already face down for that section. Card art image. If the draw to and self mirror. Oh, so we don't actually use the argument. We check the game state. So let's actually, this is line 194. Let me write this. Put load pi. Whoa, that didn't come out right. Low pi 194. Not 104. And game ID int instance removal. But we're going to deviate for a moment and look at this draw to, because I am getting rid of all dead code. Dead code must go. Draw to is used in line 551. Okay. Oh, it's no longer. It's no longer used. So we actually don't even. Is that true? Draw to use line 551. So this is for card movement. We set the draw to false. Then this is in card movement. We check if it's in game state list, nothing to do with the argument. And then this is in an entirely different function. And this is. Okay, we do use it. Gotcha. Listen to my all caps comments. If I ever have an all caps comment that says do not remove, that means do not remove it. I was right. Cool. Okay. So that's actually like good. Yeah, Don't remove that. Cool. Alright. Now we're back to where we were. Which is... Well, wait a second. Hold on. We don't check it. I'm like, wait a second. I'm wrong. Hold up. Because we have... In the draw animation, we call the card movement function, and we pass in the draw to argument. But this doesn't actually get checked. This doesn't actually get checked, does it? No, it doesn't. Because this is card movement, and this is where it's defined. Why is it... Okay, boom, boom, boom. Now, draw 2 equals false. And this is where we create the parameter. And then this is where it's checked, but this is not checking the parameter. This is checking correctly to see if the draw 2 is in mirror game state list, which means if any of the game's game state are in, if either of the game's game state are the draw 2, then it does what we previously had the draw to arg do. So this is obsolete code. Almost slipped past me. Yeah, the draw 2 in self-mirror game state list. Let's read this note here. Change this attribute from a class adder to instant adder to reduce confusion. Couldn't think of a good reason to keep it a class adder. More simple to have it as an instance adder, leaving caution comment in case it causes issues. Fair enough. Fair enough, my feathered friend. I think, yeah. Good catch, bro. We caught that shit. Called by progression, the draw to visually lay out all the cards in the master deck so that the player can pick the card that they want to choose for determining the first player. Facts. It's true. And why do we not have object references with quotations? That's a good question. I don't know. So this right here is obsolete code. And not only that, but look at this. Game ID int is also obsolete code. So look how pretty this is. We're going from 4 ugly args to 2 beautiful args. I love it. So much better. Is it not? It is. Okay. The draw 2 is used at line 551. No, it's not. Not anymore. Bam. Why does it say calls P2? Also takes the draw 2. It doesn't take the draw 2. It says calls P2 at the end of the function, which visually updates the card's on-screen location. No, that's not true. Calls P2. That had to have been a typo, huh? That makes literally no sense at all. Why would I say that? Calls P2 at the end of the function. Yeah, that's not. I don't know what I was getting at there. Okay, cool. So we're back to where we were before the sidetrack. Line 194, game ID instance removal, and we can remove both the draw card to arg as parameter rather, as well as the game ID int parameter. So now we have two, three are, well, two really, two parameters instead of four when you don't count the self, because the self is not really, I mean, hey, it is. So we went from 5 to 3 actually. I misspoke. Okay, if the draw 2 and sub mirror game say list current card on P1 hand, da 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 da. Change the attribute. What attribute? An instance adder to reduce confusion. Oh, it was card image, I think. To reduce confusion, I don't see why that would cause an issue. I'll just leave the comment just in case, for whatever reason, it's problematic. So I have the draw animation, which we'll call card movement, and card movement will check for the draw 2 inside of the mirror game state list. Yeah, cool. So we're done with that. Easy money. Now back to where we left off. And we're gonna change this to 198, just in case I get sidetracked. Or yeah, coming at it. First imports P1 and P2 game objects, then assigns the game var to the proper game object unless game ID int is equal to none, in which case there is a caution printout for logging purposes and a subsequent return. And we put, I'm quite sure, okay, yeah, we're, dude, my eyes are burning, bro. My eyes are like burning. I could see how pink they look from sickness. They're burning. Okay, I'm gonna take a little break and definitely past the 1 hour mark. Yeah, 1 hour 18 minutes. So we're gonna actually trudge through and try to get to 2 hours. I'm gonna take a quick like 5-10 minute break, and yeah, we're gonna smash this last like 40 minutes. So I'll be back in a moment. Don't waste your time on me, you're already a voice inside my head. There's you. Okay, I'm back. I know that was a little long. Saw a UPS truck out there. One of my coworkers. I was gonna ask him if he, if like they had a lot of people not come in, because I know lots of people don't even have power and stuff. Which it's obviously not an excuse not to go to work, but it's really just because I was sick. I was just curious. I know lots of people are like, you know, they might have evacuated or whatever. And then like UPS made it mandatory for us to come to work. So if you didn't have like a sick day, you could get a write up. They want you to have that pressure on you. Like, it's kind of fucked up, bro. Whatever. I get it. They need the work done. They think we're lazy. We ain't doing shit. We just don't want to go to work. You know, it's not like we might have evacuated and have kids and, we're worried about tornadoes. Oh, it's only category 1. Whatever. Corporation is what a corporation is. They want their money, dude. So, anyway, let's smash this last little, 30 minutes. So that was actually a long break. That was over 10 minutes. It was like 12-minute break. Anyway, it's no big deal. Where's my phone? I get these things. Okay, so let's finish this. Okay, game ID is equal to none. First import CPU and their time being ready by those human. Okay, so this is not going to be a thing anymore. I'm quite sure there should never be an instance in which game ID occurs. This is most likely a bug. Like, I don't even need that comment. I have realized I don't even need it. What happened to the music? Oh, that's because I was I see. So this is gone. We're not gonna use this anymore. If game ID is not equal to none, we don't need this anymore. Oh wait, no, hold up.
EPS's families. Most of our schools will reopen tomorrow, Friday, September 13th. The exceptions at this time are Hammond Westside Montessori School, Laranja Elementary, Laranja Middle, and Laranja High School, as well as the 7th and 8th grade building at Kentwood High Magnet.
My children's school is open tomorrow. Game ID is not equal to none. I'm doubting myself again. I'm like, wait a second. How does domain get the proper game object? Oh no. Locate.game object. Wait, why does... Okay, no, I'm right. I'm tripping again. I keep doing this. I keep doubting myself. It's good to doubt yourself, though, sometimes. Sometimes. In coding, it is. Question yourself. Well, locate.game object. So the game object is assigned so that we call Okay, so we just didn't change this yet. We actually... So we set the locate.game object, and then in locations... okay, so yeah, this just needs to be changed. We didn't make the change yet. We need to modify this to be, if game ID in is not equal to none, if game ID int is not equal to none, this is gonna get removed. That's gonna get removed. This is gonna get changed. This is gonna get removed. This is gonna get removed. And now we say game equals dot object. Easy money, right? Is this easy money? Locate.gameObject equals p1 game locations, so it's referencing self.gameObject, and we don't need to import p1 game or p2 game, do we? Don't we already do that? I don't think we need to do this. We don't. Yeah, we don't. Because in essence, we are importing it through this assignment setup. And it's time-based, so at the point in time in which it references the game object, if it has access to it, that's all that matters. So we don't need to import it. It is virtually imported. Look at me, dude, making progress. Alright, let's keep going here. Okay, now this is... Be right back. Be right back. Yeah, I want some chocolate chip cookies, dude. I want some chocolate chip cookies straight up. I want some chocolate chip cookies like now. Where are the chocolate chip cookies at, bro? Where the oh, you know what I can make? I can make peanut butter oatmeal cookies, dude. I can make oatmeal peanut butter cookies, boy. I can make oatmeal peanut butter cookies. I'm sick, bro. I need nighttime medicine. I don't have no more nighttime medicine. Shit. Just got daytime. I don't know if any businesses are open yet. It shouldn't be. I don't expect them. I expect people today. You know, unless you're like the power people or something like that. Starting to feel like not very well again. All right, let's smash this. Realize that during the tail end of DTM that all these card movement methods are derivative of append, etc. Therefore, all of the data changes made within these functions do not need to be transferred. Called by func_dict via key deck. And presumably cards card is event. Deck, master deck, discard, pile. For P1 hand, P2 hand. Calls card movement function to visually and digitally move card to the proper location. Whoa. Alright, let's knock out equals none, because that's a thing. And we still have a bunch of these. No, we don't. From the old client. Ha! Alright, we got this game ID and yes, dude. This is just nice, bro. Look at all this code. It goes bye-bye. Deleting code is better than creating code. Who knew? Who could have known? It's true. Card movement. Bam. Okay. Self card movement. Game ID in. Who's game ID in? Self card movement. Meldo. We don't use that anymore. Self card movement. We don't use that anymore. Game ID and visual meld update. Get it out of here. Get it out of here. Almost there. Yeah, this is just easy money right here. This is like mindless work. I don't even need to think about this. I probably should think about it more than what I am. Card num text ID, game ID in, bam bam bam. Get out of here. Let's make sure that's correct. Next is this. Almost there. Same thing for this. Game ID end doesn't need to be. Game ID end. Oh, I love it, dude. So this is for dirt check, and we did verify game ID int doesn't need to be passed. Doesn't need to be. Ooh, almost messed up there. Oh, I did. Look at that. I forgot my comma. Caught me slipping. I caught myself slipping, dude. None. Game ID end equals none. Okay. We're done with this. I love it, bro. I love it, dude. I love it, love it, love it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Don't act like you don't know. Alright, now. Alright, I think I'm gonna quit, bro. I'm just tired right now, honestly. It's late. Oh, I got minutes. No, that's not true. We're supposed to do 23 more minutes to get the 2-hour mark. And I just don't like it. Let's just structure Was that really it? I feel like I'm forgetting something. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. Why is there 6 instances of this is things to do. Alright, so let's get rid of that. Let's read this. Current issue game ID and logic. Remove game ID and entirely replace with locate game object assignment from setup. This would be one and done assignments for all instances. Created game object adder and assignment logic. Messages of game ID. Check for self game ID. That let's just verify. Let's close all these other ones. Need to reference card movement, script def card movement, and so we say at the beginning game equals self dot game object, and it does take the self arg, so this should work since we assign it in the associated setup call. So I would think this is correct. I think that we did the right thing. And let's double check this by searching for GAM, which is supposed to be game. No. We want to search locally, not throughout the entire project. So let's highlight this function and damn, that's a long function, bro. That's a function right there. That function is thick, dude. And now we do Alt L. Yeah. Alt L, 1 of 70, there we go. You have to draw to, okay. Okay, so we're using it to call draw window main, which is exactly why we did what we did. Okay, yeah, so we're actually, we did perfect. We did what we needed to do. As far as that section is concerned, we converted that, we removed all vestiges of game ID, and so we did all of that. So this is done. Ensure we modify all related logic and code to ensure we do this safely. And I think we did do that. Okay. So let's look at this next issue. We have server-side card movement and draw window main. After reviewing associated logic, realize that we can almost certainly draw window main function calls from server-side. None of the data is server-side, none of the associated. All that's needed is the append to be called and transferred to the client. The client derivatively executes all that code and gets all of that data through the transferred append. Solution is determine how far back along the chain of events server side for checking. Okay, true. Because what we wanted to do here was make it so that we wanted to make it so that I'm trying to think of where it was that I was thinking we would want to check. If SS or CS, like, Okay. I think what I was just like concerned about is actually like I don't need to be concerned about it. As long as we do what we're proposing to do correctly here. None of the data, the kind of chain of events append functing. So the next step was to review all functic functions to see if server side is necessary. If not necessary, instead of checking SSCS every time you call functic, create a new function that contains SSCS. Check along with the function call for 1x instead of 8x. If not necessary, probably leave check inside of card movement. Okay. And honestly, guys, I'm just done right now. I don't have it in me. I don't feel very good. I think I'm gonna clock out here. So, yeah, I wanted to get to 2 hours, but we're just gonna call it. I'm gonna go ahead and call it quits. Okay, so 5:44. I'll just attribute it to sickness and leaving work early. We did. That can't be right. 3:51 to 5:44. Am I tripping? But yeah, it's not 2 hours. It's almost 2 hours. It's really true. That's not right. Well, the numbers don't lie, do they? Oh well. We were close. You know what? I know what I can do. Before I clock out, let's test this. Let's see. True. Yeah, this is a wise idea actually. Anyway, before like we should be in a stable condition right now with the changes we just made. This SS card movement draw window main thing. This is like this is I'm trying to figure out a way to describe it exactly. Basically, we're at a stable point in the project. This starting this would put us in an a state of the project wherein we wouldn't be able to run the project until we finish the task. But since we just finished a task that took us out of a runnable state, and then since we finished the task, we're now in a runnable state again, I think we should probably test the game first. If my calculations are correct, we should be able to do this. So I'm actually game test before SS card task below. So that's gonna be, we're gonna do that. So we're gonna CD into Canasta, CD Canasta main, and then we're gonna CD Canasta main, CD Canasta main. We're gonna pi server. Let's see if we get a crash here. We did not get a crash. Let's do pi client. Okay. Let's do pi client again. What is your name? Client 1's name is Joshua. Client 2's name is just M. Right, we entered that. Prepare to play Canasta. He hits enter. Let's see what we got here. Canasta M. Right, there we go. Let's pick our card. See what happens. Oop. Uh-oh. Something happened. What was it? Oh, you know what? Hold up. Didn't we have it to where if game ID n is equal to none return? That didn't happen now? It doesn't? Oh, what happened? No, here we go. This is, let's open this up a little bit and look here. So we have an attribute error. None type object has no attribute draw window main. Ah, okay. And that is what I was thinking about. Remember when I was like, oh, I think what I was thinking about is not actually a concern, is of no concern. Well, it actually is of concern. Obviously, I was wrong. So what we need to do is we need to actually go into locations, line 367, into card movement. Well, and see, this is connected to that other task because currently we're calling card movement function, and we don't actually from the side because that's what's up in the air. That, but ultimately, to add in to bypass the little issue we got right here is to only draw if um, the object is not equal to none, or rather if SS or CS is equal to CS. But explicit over implicit would imply that we should instead, for SS or CS, check. So let's go to locations, and we're going to go to line 367, and we have game draw window main. Well, actually, we need to go to the top of the function up here, and game dot game equals. Oof. Okay. I see. Oh, I see. So, and this, here's the question. Actually, didn't we determine that card movement? Yeah, card movement verified, not needed server side. So, what we can do, if card movement is not needed server side, and that is the issue here, is that this is the server terminal, the server scripts terminal. The server script is trying to run draw window main via this card movement function call. But since card movement doesn't actually need to be run on the server side, we can modify, and this is the other task we're working on. We're trying to figure out how far back can we push the logic, and we know at least we can push it back to right here. So for now, we're going to push it back to right here, and then we can always move the goalpost later, like every person with bad logic. It's funny. Game equals self by game object. What we need to do is say if game is equal to none, right? Because it's originally set to none, if I'm correct. Yeah. If self game object is it's originally set to none. If game is equal to none, then turn. And actually, we can even improve this logic a little bit better by checking the object instead of the pointer. So we'll say if self game object is equal to none, return, and then else, and we'll just say elif game or elif self dot game object is not equal to none, which means it's assigned to either P1 game or P2 game. which means it's running from the client side instead of the server side, then we assign the game to the self.game object. But if self.game object is equal to none, this means we are running from the server side. And since we're running from the server side, we don't need to run this function at all. As a matter of fact, not even a little bit. So we just return immediately, and that will, or should rather, I don't want to assume anything. Number one rule in programming: don't assume anything, ever. If self.gameObject is equal to none, it means we're running from server side return. Self.gameObject is not equal to none. It doesn't run window. We'll just put verified, not required to be run server side. And hopefully I'm correct in that assessment. Now, I think that's all we have to do. So let's run the server again, and let's run the client again. Okay, now let's run the second client, and looks like there it goes. Okay, now let's do Joshua for client 1, M for client 2. Prepare to play Canasta Joshua, hit enter to continue. I hit enter, waiting for that delay, which we're gonna modify eventually, but for now we're focusing on stability rather than aesthetics. So he's picked his draw card, now he's picking his, there's the delay, and okay, looky there. Right, and now we are back where we started. Not where we started, I mean, we're working with improved code, so I'm happy. We are in a working state, and by working state we are back in the state we were before we started converting the game ID int, the game object, the setup. We made some big improvements. We reduced the code base maybe by like 1%, which is actually a lot, and because that all contributes to bugs that gets created. So now all we have to do is fix this draw animation bug, which we're currently seeing right now, and we can do that by, we're going to close this out, I'm not going to play through that. So all we need to do now is work on the SS card movement draw window, which is not really necessary. Honestly, we could just leave this as it is, and I think technically, I think therefore I am going to just leave this as it is, because well, this actually could be causing bugs, because what's happening is we're running all these functions from location, like all of, let me see which functions. We're no longer running card movement, which is critical, but we're still running all this. Causes the cards to be situated. Oh, see, and I think, well, this is derivative of a pin, but need that to happen on the server side. And that's ultimately the question that this was the next question we were going to ask was, don't we need this to happen on the server side? The answer to that question is, I think that we need I'm gonna go ahead and quit right here. I'm gonna go ahead and call it quits. But I'm leaning towards uh, we may. No, actually, this is derivative, and I even made a note to point that out. Well, just because it's derivative doesn't mean we don't need to have it executed on the server side. We very well may need to have it executed on the server side. Okay. Yeah, so we're just going to call it quits right now. I'm a little tired, and I think we're probably at our 2-hour mark. And, yeah. Cool. So we're going to close this out. We're going to close all these files out. Let's go to the devlog. Let's put in our time. We're clocking out at 5:59. We went from 3:51 to, we'll just say 6:01 because it's going to take us a couple minutes to finish up here. And let's see, did we get to our 2-hour mark? Well, look at that. We actually did. 3:51 to 6:01 is 2 hours and 10 minutes exactly, and we took like a 12-minute break, 13-minute break, so we'll be off by like 2 minutes. So I stole 2 minutes off the clock. We'll just say 2 hours solid, and from 3:51 to, I'll whiff this right here to 5:59, we implemented the solution, the improved version of game object assignment for calling draw window main in various places, removing the previous version which relied on hot potato arg passing. And we'll just put huge improvement, many many lines of code. And so tested via testing and verified everything is working 100%. Dope. Also reviewed associated logic was which was quite a lot. We didn't give it extraordinary focus, but we did. So I feel confident in saying that we did do that. And then from 6 to 6:02, and I'm about my minutes, dude. We went ahead, and of course, by the time I'm done, it's going to be 6:03. So no, look, we didn't steal any time at all, boys and girls. We didn't steal any time at all. Stage committed and pushed changes to remote repo, created a new local backup of the entire project. So now we're going to copy this devlog. We're going to CD out. We're going to CD out to the root project directory, which we are now in branch. That's going to tell us we're on the correct secondary. That's the one. Hit add dot, which is going to add all that stuff. We're going to do git commit. Make sure we have two. My eyes are getting bad. Then we're going to double quote. We're going to our devlog. We're going to double quote out. Hit enter. 11 files changed. Insertions. 67 deletions. Stats. Now we're going to do git push. Canasta. Type. One day I'll figure it out. Pushing to the Canasta repo the branch This internet worked. See ya. Now we're gonna. What was that? What was that? What was that? All right, now let's. Is my computer just like doing something? What was going on? What just happened here, bro? Something just happened. I don't know. Whatever. Let's go to programming. We're gonna go to projects. We're gonna go to Canasta. We're gonna copy the little fella. We're gonna back out. We're going up to the back up. We're gonna delete the. We're gonna hit OK to that warning message. We're gonna paste in the new felly. He's almost there. Touchdown. Now entering in. We're going to text. We're gonna go to devlog. You already know. We're gonna hit Control End to look at the date. The date is the 12th. We did it correctly. Gotta double check. Now we're gonna rename to the 12th. Back up. Yeah, that's it, guys. All right, see you.